All right, we're live. Hey, Anthony Melchior, great to see you.
Live from New York.
It's No Vacancy Live.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
What, Anthony? So great to see you, my friend. I don't know, why are we feeling so cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs today? Maybe spring is in the air. Maybe it's because you're double vaxxed. I'm getting mine tomorrow. I don't know, but it's feeling pretty good.
I tell you, my pool's open. I was out in the sunshine, stretching, getting this old body moving. And I was just like, oh, it feels so good. I got a little suntan going. The weather's good. My wife's vaccinated. One of my daughters vaccinated. My two daughters can be vaccinated. All people from 16 on up as of April 6th can be vaccinated in New York.
Yep, that's pretty exciting news, and I'm feeling the excitement across the country. Man, when I was in Florida last week, I was feeling how enthusiastic people were about it. The airports were picking up, but we talked about this before. But now we got to think about what it's going to be like as we get set to really, in real numbers, start to welcome back guests to our hotels. And I think that's what we're really going to be focused on today, Anthony.
Absolutely. And it's about not talking about pandemic anymore. It's not talking about COVID clean. It's talking about clean. It's about, one of the things that I find extraordinarily funny is when you talk to housekeeping managers or management companies or brands and say, well, we're going to keep the cleaning standard this high. Well, shouldn't the cleaning standard always been this high?
Right. The other thing that annoys me is that people call me up and they're like, hey, we're thinking of offering this cleaning program in a select rooms and upcharging. So I'm like, so what are you doing? You're telling people that all your other rooms are crap and that they shouldn't stay there because they're a danger?
It's absolutely insane. Cleanliness is like breathing. You need to have it.
You do. And that's why today we're going to be focusing on the good folks over at Cintas. We're going to start up right now with Nicole Beall at Cintas. Nicole, great to see you. Welcome so much for helping us get clean and celebrate the soft launch of your brand new Total Clean program today. How exciting is that? Thanks for trusting us.
Absolutely. Hey, well, thanks for having us on the show. And I think it starts by saying thank you, the two of you, for everything you've done for the industry. You said, let's not look in the past on COVID, but I think looking in the past, in the last year, the impact that you've made, it's been amazing. I heard you were telling a story, Anthony. I can't remember the gentleman's name. It was a young up and coming general manager. I think it was there in Atlanta at the True Hotel.
Okay.
Recently promoted. And there's been so many opportunities where new general managers, imagine being a new general manager of a hotel right when COVID hit. And you think about general managers that have had all this experience to learn, to pivot. And your show has literally been educational for new partners to the industry, new leaders to the industry. So you've really made an impact. And
thank you. And like I've said before, and Glenn has said before, it's guests like you that make this show. I mean, if not, it's just two idiots and a mic, which was going to be the name of our show in the beginning. It was two.
He's not. You're not correct, Anthony. It was two morons in a mic. We got to get that alliteration in there.
Right. So thank you for saying that. But it really comes down to our guests and the people that are watching us. And this has been therapy for me. I mean, especially the first 6 months when nothing was going on. And we were all spraying our groceries and we were all frightened to go outside our house, and especially in New York. So this has been absolute therapy. But what I've said before, which I think is really important, if you watch this show from day one, and not because of us, but from day one till now, you should get a PhD in your mailbox, because the things that we're getting, people like you, leaders of business, presidents of brands, presidents of management companies, talking about the inner workings of their company. So if you're paying attention, you're taking notes, you would be able to really take this show for the last year and really have an impact in your career. So it's been a blessing. Thank you for the kind words.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we should start offering No Vacancy Live certificates out there. So, hey, send us a boatload of money. We'll send you a piece of paper with the logo on it. How's that sound? So, Nicole, let's talk a little bit about Total Clean, because I'm tired of this partially clean type of stuff. So tell us what Total Clean with Cintas is all about, please.
Sure, absolutely. So today we're kind of giving a preview, if you will, a soft launch. specifically to the hospitality industry. And we chose this avenue to do it because we know the reach and the impact that you're having. And if COVID has taught us anything, and we've said it several times, Anthony, that it's no longer okay to appear clean, right? We got to prove it. And I've heard guest after guest, and we've talked locally with operators on do we really have protocols in place? What does a protocol for clean look like? And we've had to go on the whim as an industry and figure that out. And so we are working hard as a brand who, as I hope you know, Anthony, you've partnered with us truly because I do believe that you believe in our services.
Well, if I can interrupt you there for a second,
Yeah.
We're working together for, I'm going to guess, 7 years?
Wow.
How long are we working together?
Almost 10.
Almost 10?
Yep.
We've been together for 10 years, and it's more like it's just like it just doesn't. It just like it feels like you've been in my life for 10 years, and really, and I've said it before on the show, it's because it's fun. I like working with you guys, and you're very what's the word I can use? You guys are very intense on ensuring you're getting everything right. I've never worked with a company, and I can say this honestly, that is more intense on getting everything right. And sometimes it can drive me a little crazy because you're so methodical on your approach and making sure you're a good vendor and good sponsor to the industry. So it's just been a pleasure.
Well, thank you. And not to sound cheesy, but it's because we care, right? These customers are number one to us. And you know this, Anthony, we organized 10 years ago or more around the hospitality industry to make sure we had the know-how, to make sure we knew the expectations. And as you know, hoteliers have very high expectations. And so service and our service, we take that very seriously, and it's important to us.
That is important. So a question about back from the Hotel Impossible days. Did you guys partner on stuff on air, or was it more other stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, they did carpet cleaning for us and vent cleaning for us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yep. That's pretty cool. All right. So it's 2021. It's the spring. New things are springing. You've got an absolutely exciting new program that you want to soft launch. Yep. Could you tell us a little bit about what this is all about to educate our audience?
Yep. So just like anything, it's important that it's not about us, Cintas, that it's about the customer. And we believe we have to find a way to help our customers, the hotels, communicate to their guests exactly what it is they're doing to go above and beyond. Because think about it, when you stay at a hotel, you don't always get to see what's happening in housekeeping. You know it's happening, right? You know the housekeeper came in the room, but you don't know how long they wiped the counter, or you may not know if they wiped the counter with the same rag or microfiber that they wiped, right? So we got to find a way to help hotels take credit for the things they're doing that the guest doesn't always see. So that's really what Total Clean is about today, our Total Clean program. So we're going to just give you a preview to that. And I've invited our Vice President of Product Development on the call today. And we're going to take you through the umbrella of everything that falls underneath this Total Clean program. The idea is, so the idea here is we'll take you through it. We'll have some conversation and some dialogue. And I'd like to introduce you first to our Vice President of Product Development, Dave Mesko.
Hey, Dave. Great to see you.
Glenn, good to see you again. Hey, Anthony, how are you?
Hello, my friend.
Been a while.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Dave, what do you got to tell us?
Well, I want to talk about Total Clean a little bit, and it's an effort for Cintas to be able to communicate to our customers all the different things that we have to help them keep their business clean. And as you know, the standard did change. We're all thinking about cleaning for appearance in the past, and during the pandemic, we've been thinking about cleaning for health. And we have a lot of experience in that, having a lot of customers in the healthcare industry and working with them on SOPs to keep hospital rooms clean. And we're bringing that expertise to different segments. But the idea on Total Clean is, you mentioned it earlier. If you were starting as a general manager at a hotel, where do I start in getting all the different products and services I need to keep this place clean? And what does clean even mean today from a standard standpoint? And we wanted to show the comprehensiveness of everything we had to help. And so Total Clean walks through the breadth of our offering, from clean uniforms on a on a rental standpoint, to the services where we'll come in and physically perform cleanings for a customer, and then all the products that you need to do the cleaning yourself. So starting as a marketing umbrella to pull all those things together in a comprehensive way, but then it gets exciting from there to building it into certification programs for your people to be able to clean, and the specific SOPs of how you clean what. So you don't have to guess. We'll give you an SOP on how to clean a room, how to clean general space, restrooms, tell you how to do it, how long to do it, what products to use, and then back it up with training for your people. And we're working with third-party industry leaders on this to get that certification, and then to have things on a learning management system, and even beyond that, to have an executive housekeeper be in a position to audit and make sure that all these things are happening. So just an exciting umbrella program for us to explain everything we can do, but then working with third parties to certify all of it to give you a higher level of assurance that it's actually happening.
Excellent. So, Nicole, sorry, Anthony, you wanted to say something? I was wondering if I should bring up that graphic, and then
not yet. I have a question. How does that work with the brands that have all kinds of different programs? How do you guys work side by side with that?
Yeah, so if the brand has a well-established SOP in it, then we can tailor it to the products and services we have to execute that SOP. And then we can actually work on helping them assure that the people are certified and trained against those SOPs. So most people don't have their own, you might have a checklist. You know, this person started in August and they got trained, but did they get retrained 6 months later? I got a new person starting. So with a learning management system, we can get them trained to those SOPs and make sure that they have all the skill they need and know how to execute it. And then we can assure that they're actually cleaning that way by giving them audit tools. So we can either give you a generic SOPs, or we can work with yours and put them into this system so you can manage it very easily.
I have a generic SOB. That's great.
But I'm not generic. I'm highly specialized.
Standard operating procedure. Yes, we got acronym after acronym after acronym, I'm sure.
It's so critical that it's more than just giving product, right? It's about cleaning the right way. I remember when Weston did the bed, it's like the bed's stupid. It's like it's cleaning properly with one rag. Or one surface with one rag. I mean, how many shows have you seen? How many shows have you seen me walk into, and they're literally using one rag to clean everything?
Everything, and then from room to room to room to room, right? Which is bringing whatever yuck was in that last room into the next room and cross-contaminating. So all that kind of stuff's built in the SOPs, the right product and how to use it and how to do it. And Anthony, I've watched them clean the toilet first and get it nice and clean, and then use that water to mop the floor. I mean, people have bad habits all over the place, good intentions and bad habits.
Especially since you're cleaning with people understand if you guys can mute your mic if you're not talking. What people understand is clean 16 rooms in a day. And by the 15th room, you're using your t-shirt to clean. I mean, you're so exhausted and you're so kind of like you forgot where the bed started and the sink, ended. Like you're so like, you don't even know how many rooms you cleaned. You don't even know what hotel you're in sometimes.
I can't even imagine having to do all of that. What a hard job it is. But fortunately, you guys are there to help to make it a little bit simpler, a little bit easier, a little bit more convenient for the housekeeping to do the right thing. So, Nicole, would it now be a good time for me to bring up that graphic for you? What do you think?
That'd be perfect.
Boom, look at that. Hey, everybody, for all of you out there who said that I can't do anything right, well, you're wrong. I actually did something right for once. But
so somebody bring us through the graphic.
Yeah, but I'll tee it up here and we'll go through it. But the idea here is that anybody that is participating in a Cintas service that you see on this wheel can communicate to their guests that they are participating in the Cintas Total Clean program. And if a guest were to say, well, what is that? What does that even mean? We will have something similar to a QR code that they can click right there on site and see what that looks like and actually see us performing those services on site.
That is really important. And as we know right now, the display of cleaning is almost as important as cleaning itself. So you can adequately transmit the message to your customers, both consciously and subliminally, that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, remember, Anthony, back in the day, 6-7 years ago, we would pull our truck to the back of the hotel and we would wait to clean the carpets till the evening, and we'd bring our hose so it wouldn't be seen. Well, now the hotel operators are asking us to be there during check-in and to be seen and visible doing the spray services, whatever the case may be. They want to take credit for that. So we're taking it one step further in this Total Clean program to take credit for it even when we're not on site. So if the guest has questions and wants to see exactly what they're doing, they'll be able to see our services being performed.
So is there like a sticker or something like that says like Total Clean Program by Cintas, and you put it somewhere?
Yep. So I'm going to test your skills here, Glenn.
All right.
You think you can do it? You think you can pull up the second slide? You got this?
No, but I'm going to try anyway. All right. Let's do this cross. Second slide.
Boom. All right. So a lot to look at here, but what you really want to see is that there is a QR code essentially. And it's not exactly a QR code. What's it called, Dave?
No, that's a QR code.
Well, it is a QR code, but the ones that we're actually doing placing around the building that teach the housekeepers what to clean are our NFC codes. So near field, you tap it with your cell phone and it automatically pulls up the list. So
yeah. Well, I take my phone, I hold it up against one of those squares, and then all of a sudden it says, "Hey, you want to go to the website?" Which is
that's it.
Cool that it's all automated now. That's
awesome. What we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So bring us through it. I don't understand. So I'm a guest. I'm a housekeeper. Explain it to me, Dave. What I don't understand what we're talking about.
So in the case of this, if you're on the Total Clean program and you're using the Cintas cleaning products, which would be microfibers and mops and wipes, the NFC code would be on the door jamb. The housekeeper clicks it and it pulls up the right products and the right procedure to clean that room. And that is customized to, is that room currently occupied or is it a change out? And we've used this in the healthcare space before for terminal cleans and for the EBS departments, and we're applying it to this space.
Dave, that's an important thing you're mentioning right there. All of these technologies and stuff that you're employing right now and making applicable for the hospitality industry were born through the healthcare business. So this is established protocols that have been in place for a while. You're just kind of moving them here to this venue to help hoteliers find more success. Exactly right. And that's where we've got, the decade of experience in doing it in the healthcare space and just bringing that level of clean to hospitality, not just from, no, now we're using a hospital grade disinfectant, or now we're using a microfiber that's got 99.99% removal. Those are products, but just the technique of how to do it. And then it creates assurance that it's being done, because when you click on that sticker that you just talked about, it times you into that room, and then when you click out of it, it times you out of that room. So we know that people are spending the proper amount of time cleaning those rooms. And if you're an executive housekeeper managing a staff, it's nice to know that everyone was on the schedule that you set up, that they're actually executing against it. It's those level of assurances that guests are looking for now as well. And we can put those QR codes in restrooms. If customers want to click on it, they can see what the cleaning routine was too, and also when the last time it was cleaned. Mm-hmm. So all the branding just gives assurances of it, but you've got the ability just to click on things and be assured that it's being cleaned the right way and when.
Okay, so
also, let me just say this one thing, Anthony. As a guest, I'm thinking, even if I don't click on it, the fact that it's there is sending me the signals that everything is fine. So I don't necessarily need to click through to have that confidence created by this. Sorry, Anthony, please continue.
Okay, I want to know how you solve this problem. How do we solve the problem of opening up a bathroom door after you clean your hands and walk out of the door without using your elbow or your hand? Like nowadays, literally, it's almost a sport. I sit out and watch people come out of a bathroom, watching what they're doing to try to get the door open. And so what product is there? Is do you have a wipe and then you have a garbage can outside? Like, what do you guys do to prevent that? Because that seems to be a thing that everybody wants.
Yep. You're hitting on the disinfectant wipes, Anthony, and that has been a very big push for us in hospitality and casinos with all the touch points in a casino. It's not enough just to do this, right? They want to wipe it down themselves. And right. So that grabbing that wipe before you go out the door, grabbing that wipe before you're on a slot machine has been a very, very big push in the last 6 months.
Yeah, and then have a garbage can right outside the door so you can throw it out. Yep. And but that to me, it used to be just the crazy people like me doing that. Now it's everybody. Nobody touches door handles anymore. But then that same person that doesn't want to touch the door handle is He's such in the slot. I've been a lot of casinos this year.
We all have been. We've been trying to soothe our souls by doing broadcasts here in the Northeast.
But my friend failed because he didn't get us the opening day at the Virgin Hotel in Vegas. So we're gonna fix that when we go to the Resort World.
We will.
We go to Resorts World, Glenn.
Whenever they open, we're going to be part of their opening celebration. But we don't have the exact dates yet because COVID has kind of like messed up the timing of everything. But I expect, my guess, late June, early July.
All right.
Vegas is opening back up at 90% occupancy last week, pre-2019 rates. So that's all very exciting.
It is very exciting. And we're seeing those signals across the entire country. For example, we're hearing about more group business being booked at many, many hotels outside some of the major destinations. Even some major destinations are getting it. Our good friend Chris Green over at Chesapeake Hospitality booked a huge event for their Showboat Atlantic City property. So it's all coming back.
So before we keep going on about cleaning and the program, Glenn, can I kind of go back a little bit? Am I allowed?
Yes, you can.
Right.
Now,
It is your show, Anthony.
It's Glenn's show. I just happen to be co-host. It's definitely Glenn's show. If anybody thinks this is my show, that they're crazy. But if it wasn't for Glenn, there wouldn't be a show.
I think,
and that's true. But I want to kind of get to the human part of this, right? Cintas has been around hospitality for a long time. You see the white trucks, you see the guys come in, the girls come in. The executives at Cintas, I think, are second to none. But what was it like for you internally, for your business, for your employees, for your company, and then to see your friends in the industry get clobbered? What was that like for you? I'll start with you, Nicole.
Wow. Yeah. You're hitting heartstrings, right? Talk about leadership and really looking inward in your company. And you find out really quickly, and I think other organizations would say the same, that culture is everything. And I couldn't be prouder to work for Cintas, because when you look to your left and your right, and you look at your leadership team, you look at your partners who are employee partners at Cintas, they get it done. And I want to work with a team that when the fire happens, we're running into the fire, right? And that we're rolling our sleeves up and we figure it out. And so many lessons learned during COVID. You think about when it first hit, nobody knew what was going to happen the next day. Anthony, I think we were trying to get you on a flight into Cincinnati, and everything just went chaos. And I'm sure you probably had some of the same lessons, but as a leader at Cintas and working alongside our partners, I think you could ask anyone. It was our culture, and we learned a lot about each other. We learned a lot about our organization, but our leadership really shined because we walked into the fire. We ran into the fire, and we had to figure it out. And I'm grateful for that.
Dave, how about you?
It's the same thing, Anthony. Culture is everything. It was just a focus and a determination that we're going to make it through this, however long this takes. And out the backside of it, we're going to be a better company. I mean, in those earliest, darkest meetings, we started thinking about how is this going to make us better in the long term? This is going to be temporary. We don't know how long that temporary is going to be. We're going to make it through it. But how are we going to be better at the end of it? And if you look at the company we have today versus it's a year ago, I mean, I'm looking at that 330, and I'm a way happier guy today than I was 12 months ago on 330. I don't want to live that again, but the experience was awesome. And we really had to step up to help the company thrive and help our customers thrive. The product line we have today is very different. I mean, we did a little bit in hand sanitizers. I can't tell you the numbers now, but it's 15 times that. We didn't do disinfecting wipes. We didn't rent isolation gowns or know how to process them properly. We didn't do scrubs like we do them today. I can go, the list goes on in things that we didn't do, but our customers needed it. That white truck was showing up anyway every week, Anthony, as you mentioned earlier. But what we were bringing to that customer that needed it rapidly changed. And we leveraged our supply chain to get it for them. And we're blessed to have really good industry partnerships. I got to have a shout out to, guys like Germex, who were a great hand sanitizer partner to us. Rubbermaid was fantastic in getting us dispensers. Millions of dispensers. Wow. We had other partners like Diversey. We never ran out of disinfectant. We got great supply chain partners who helped us get those and connect the dots and get them to not only our hotel customers, but up and down the street small businesses who needed it to keep the lights on in the pandemic. It was exhilarating, and it'll be one of those things that we talk about, Anthony, when we're sitting on the beach having a pina colada down the road, talking about our careers. This year is one of those defining moments, and really showed what can be the best coming out of a bad situation.
No, wow, beautifully said. And two things come to mind. One, that what you were doing was life-saving, because the stuff that you were doing, everything from the gowns to the sanitizer for hospitals and hotels, is the difference between somebody potentially getting sick and not getting sick. And also, one of the things I remember in the early days, because like I said, actually that week I had 3 plane trips. I had 1 plane trip with you, another plane trip with California, another plane trip to Florida. And it was like one of the busiest weeks of the year for me. And then all of a sudden everything disappeared. So I was constantly in contact with you, Nicole, and with the team. And it was, on one hand, yes, COVID was happening. And for us, it was really, to me, like I felt very emotional, and I felt very like everybody. But I just remember, like, Cintas was just so businesslike and so like just getting things done. And I don't remember a second of having any conversation about, wow, this is really bad, or wow. It was just like, what do people need? When do they need it? We got like, it was just like you didn't miss a beat. It's like you didn't miss a beat. It was almost like a computer chip. It was like boom, boom, boom. And I never forgot that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I would say too, we learned a lot in 9/11 and the 2008 crash, and the human side of the business. And I would say that in this specific industry, probably more than others, relationships are so important, right? Mm-hmm. Decision makers move around, relationships move around, people get promoted. And I think it's really important that how we handled and treated our customers, I believe truly, during COVID, is going to determine how they do business with us on the other side of COVID.
100%. Even the way you treated me when I was doing the show and you guys were on my show and we were doing sponsorship deals and stuff like that. Like, now we have the biggest podcast in probably the world for hospitality and travel. And now we've transitioned to this because of the way you guys treated me, because the way I felt respected and cared for. And so now you're going to take the same love and give it to my friend Glenn. And so we, like you said, I changed kind of my career a little bit, and it's just relationships are everything. And we've talked about it many times on the show. The people that treated you poorly are going to be upset because you're going to take your business somewhere else. And the people that really, and going out of your way was just answering the phone and say, how are you? That was like, that's all you needed, because the good news is, in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, can you guys mute? Nicole, can you mute? Because it's a lot of feedback. In 20 or 30 years, when we're sitting in the rocking chair, we're going to be those old people saying, we've seen it all. And like this year,
those old people,
this year, we get to say it, we see it all. And also for young people, anyone giving young people crap, they can go scratch, because young people today, think about what they've had to do. Everything from seeing their parents work from home, getting stressed out about money, working from home from school, dealing with a teacher that doesn't know technology, dealing with not being able to see their friends, not being able to have a high school graduation, college graduation, like all the things. My kids were high school and college graduation both. And like, there's a toughness I've already seen in the last year for my children that they don't even realize that they have. There's a thick skin that they didn't have 12 months ago, which is sad, because you want to, keep your kids in the bubble, but right. It's also good when you go out in the world and, you start getting your butt kicked a little bit.
Yeah, we all could use a little bit of that thick skin for the real world butt kicking. And I'll tell you, Dave, I was really impressed with what you said about how, turning the lemons into lemonade type of argument, because we've all been through hell. But I think when we look back on it, just like you mentioned, there's going to be nothing but positive energy that comes from that. It motivated us to make some of the changes that we needed to make in our personal lives, in our companies, and that sort of thing, which takes us back to Total Clean. I got to ask you, Nicole and Dave, when I think Cintas, prior to this past year, I didn't really think about clean. I thought about uniforms, but now you're kind of bringing those two worlds together with, I think you have a new rental program that I was unaware of.
Yeah, that's why he is the show, because he can do a transition better than anybody in the world.
He's bringing us back.
All right. So,
Bring it to
you
play.
want to take that one?
Sure, absolutely. Can you hear me okay, Anthony?
Yes, absolutely.
Team? Okay, great. Sure, absolutely. So most people in this industry know us as the uniform business, right? We've shifted to apparel. So when you think you walk into the front door of a hotel, you're going to have your front desk agent that's going to greet you, and probably in a high-end suit that is made by Cintas. And then we can take you through the entire hotel, from housekeepers to the back of the house, with culinary and engineering, where we have our rental programs. And I will tell you what COVID has taught us in our apparel business is that when COVID hit, our occupancy rates were down. The lights were still on, so hotels still had to make operating decisions, but they didn't have the same revenue stream or cash flow coming in the door.
Got that right.
So, right. So this is interesting. So a lot of hotel operators have shared with us that as last year, if you remember, May, June, July, the lights started turning back on, right? We saw a spike in travel last summer. So they started bringing their employees back off of furlough. And we got a lot of feedback that employees weren't the same size as they were when they left, right? And
Anthony, you're muted. You got to unmute
They
yourself.
were much smaller than they were when they left.
that's exactly right.
I
That's
am
exactly right.
right now. That's for sure. That's
not in my case.
show off. All right, Nicole.
Yeah, so we chuckle about that, right? And but then we heard it more and more. And then what does that mean from an operating decision? Well, when the employee comes back and they they've lost their uniform or they need a new size, that is capital outlay, right? When they don't have a lot of revenue coming in the door. So these rental programs have really started to, we've seen the rental program on the rise, because what it allows us to do during COVID is a couple important things. First off, there's no upfront investment. Cintas takes the total investment upfront. You get brand new uniforms. And the most important thing that we've seen a lot of is pre-COVID, most hotel operators allowed their employees to take uniforms home to be home laundered.
Right.
And that's a big problem, right? In the new world, we don't know what's at home. And if you're wearing that housekeeping tunic onto, say, public transportation, and then you take it home, we know that home cannot hygienically clean that garment. And in some cases, you could further expose your hotel.
And if I can add to that, it's not only about being the uniform being clean and you bring those germs in the home, but there's a lot of times housekeepers, unfortunately, if there's a bed bug in the room, they bring them to their home because they have the same uniform, and they bring it, and somehow it's traveling on their lapel or pocket or pant leg, and they bring it in their home. I can't tell you how many times that's happened.
So true.
So true. I don't understand. So please explain to me, is why can't we get our stuff cleaned at home as well as we can through a rental program such as yours, Nicole?
Absolutely. And I'll touch on the high level, and I think Dave, I'll let you step in on some of the certification pieces because it's pretty cool. But really, when you think about CDC guidelines, and we hear that a lot, what does that mean? It really comes down to time, temperature, and the chemical and or bleach, right? And those three things, amongst other technical things, is what deems something hygienically clean. Home launder, and by the way, dry cleaning, cannot get up to those standards of time, temperature, and so that's been a big misunderstanding that I don't think the industry really, they didn't pay attention to it because we didn't have to necessarily.
An issue. Yeah.
Right. And I think it was Hilton on, I know you had a couple partners, but you had the brand leader, the COO of Hilton on, and he announced that they were partnering with Mayo Clinic and Lysol. And he also mentioned, if you recall, that in their new brand standards, all laundry had to be hygienically clean.
I don't remember, but you are perfectly remembering the conversation we had with Phil Cordell, who helps invent all of the new brands. So please continue, Nicole.
Yep. Well, when you dig into hygienically clean, you find out that home launder is not hygienically clean. And in most cases, neither is dry cleaning. So here we are as an industry looking at what we've done for years, home launder or dry clean, which are, by the way, costly. And so we've been hygienically clean. We have a third-party certification that takes us through that to make sure that we're auditing ourselves and allowing the hotel to take credit to their guests. That not are we're taking standards, but even our uniforms are hygienically clean. So do you want to dig in, Dave, a little bit more on that process?
you did really well explaining it. I just give a little color to it. So our laundries went through a certification called Hygienically Clean. It's done through an industry organization called TRSA. And the real intent of that was to put you in a position to be a healthcare graded laundry. So again, it's another benefit of us being in the healthcare space that translates to everyone else, is that the laundry is designed, the dirty side of the laundry is kept out of contact with the clean side of the laundry. So there's no cross contamination. The wash formulas we use for these products all get to 170 degrees plus. They're long enough and use enough bleach that they're certified by the CDC to kill every microorganism under the sun. The CDC wash formula assures that. And then we go through a certification process, and then we go through audits to make sure that we continue to deliver that way. And like Nicole mentioned, you can't get that out of a home laundry. And plus, in our program, you have to bring it home anyway to launder it. So you don't have to change your clothes in your garage to keep the stuff in your garage, Anthony, from coming into your house. You change at work, you leave the dirty stuff behind, and when the clean stuff is put back into your locker, it's been hygienically cleaned. And so that's it. It's, again, the benefit of a healthcare kind of processing that translated to more garments for more industries.
Dave, I would even argue that at least you could guarantee it was clean, because I know how households run. I know how exhausted somebody can be for potentially cleaning 16 rooms in a single day and then having to deal with parenting issues and stuff. You might just not wash that uniform that night and put it back on and go to work the next day. But with this particular program that alleviates all of that concern, puts the control back on the hotelier's plate. And how is it work out financially for them? Why not, from buying a whole bunch of uniforms to just renting the uniforms? And I have a feeling the answer has something to do with turnover as well in hotels. So Nicole, maybe you want to.
You do understand us very well.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, absolutely. From a financing perspective, when you think about you're running a hotel, Anthony, I know you've had a lot of experience in this. Purchasing uniforms, which, by the way, a hotel is always going to have to purchase uniforms, but that is a lumpy P&L, right? You have 1 year, you buy brand new housekeeping uniforms. Next year, you're in maintenance mode, and it's kind of hard to predict depending on staffing and so what the rental program offers you is an even weekly billing, right? And we take the upfront cost, like I said, and operators love that because they know what to expect. And when pre-COVID even, but certainly during COVID, when they start bringing staff back, and then come October, November, when we don't see the business travel, I hope we do, I really do.
We will.
But
oh, yes.
We will. But they may be in a situation where they have to maybe scale back a little bit in staffing. And this rental program is flexible, right? We grow with you, whichever way you're going. So you bring on employees, we can take care of that, but we also take staffing off. And so you're always able to forecast your business appropriately. And I'll say one last thing that's been really cool, the human side of it, is that as the case for COVID and rental uniforms has been very interesting, but hotel operators are now able to take credit with their staff and offer this as an employee benefit. So as they're coming back, the employees are thrilled that it's one less load of laundry they have to do, right? And every day they're going to come to work with a brand new or clean, pressed, pretty uniform. And what's that thing you always said, Anthony? When you dress well, when you get the image and you feel good about yourself, then you treat your guests the same way. And so that's been an added HR benefit through all of this.
And how about masks? If there's fabric mask, I was just at a hotel that every one of their employees have a fabric mask, and it's a very nice mask. Like, so you clean masks too, because I would imagine they use the same, they have 3 or 4 of their own masks that they use, but I would imagine that's really important to clean and make sure it's perfectly clean.
Yeah, and Dave, I'll let you take that because we've even put additional protocols in place with our mask service as well. So Dave, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that earlier. Another new product line built on necessity, Anthony. I mean, early on in the pandemic, you couldn't get disposable masks. People couldn't lay their hands on any kind of a mask, right? So having a reusable mask was a real benefit to just assuring that you had it, right? But over the long haul, still having that program is a really cost-effective way to have everyone masked up. Again, those masks go through that hygienically clean process. They hit a CDC wash formula. And if you need 100 masks to operate every week, every Thursday afternoon, it's going to be put on your shelf if that's your delivery of 100 clean masks on the shelf. And you can just assure that they're going to be there. The most important thing about a mask is it being there. And so the availability is a huge key to it. But yeah, they're designed to withstand that wash process, last a long time, and be a real economic benefit versus throwing away masks every day.
If I gave you $1 million and said 18 months ago, you're going to be in the mask cleaning business, would you?
No, I wouldn't have. And we figure out how to do it too, because, it doesn't go on a hanger, right? There's little things in a big laundry that have to be accommodated to make something like that happen behind the scenes. But again, those are we talked about it earlier. This has been the year of curveballs. We were really good fastball hitters a year ago. Man, we can hit curveballs like crazy now. And I think you mentioned it for our kids and for our families and for everyone else. We're so much better hitting curveballs now. That would have sounded like a real challenge in the past. We bring something like that to us now. It's like, yeah, we'll figure out how to do that.
You know what it is? You said in the beginning, Nicole, culture and leadership. And, I have a team that I work with, whether it be Glenn or whether it be my management team that I work with, or my publicist or my social media people or my assistant. It's like 4:00 in the morning. I text somebody, they're responding. Like everybody is like, we're moving. We're all kind of clicking, and everybody knows the speed that I work, and it clicks. And the second someone's not working at the same speed I'm working, everything falls apart for me. And you guys are like, I've never seen a company work so fast and so like you guys just click, man. It's really amazing. It's a little scary, actually.
I gotta go back a minute to this uniform rental thing for a second, because it just occurred to me, like maybe I have a really strong summer season if I'm at a resort, or vice versa, depending on where in the world I am. It sounds like it can help you better control costs throughout the year, depending on what your staffing levels are, and kind of even that out. Is that factually accurate, Nicole?
Dead on.
All right, cool.
Dead
awesome.
On.
You're so smart, man. You're so smart.
All right. So, going back a little bit, I'm curious. Our friend Gary had asked earlier, and I'm sorry I'm stalling for time right now, but do you think hotels want to keep up with this clean process once everyone is vaccinated this summer? Will this over excessive cleaning really be needed? I'm sure you've heard that question before, which is why I'm not afraid to ask you it now. So, Nicole?
Sure. Absolutely. I think that's a question that we're all asking, right? On both sides, whether it's the hotel operator, whether it's us, the supplier. And none of us have a crystal ball. But here's what inherently I will say. Any place that you are sending your kids or you are sleeping, inherently, I think the runway for hygienically clean and hygiene and health is going to be longer, because we're going to care that much more. How long? I think, frankly, we should have been sanitizing our hands the way we are now pre-COVID. And so I think now it's top of mind, and I think that's going to stick. But that's certainly a question we all have. And I think in the hospitality space, the education space where you send your kids, and the healthcare space where you also sleep in a bed, I think those things are going to be critically important, that we are hygienically clen all the way around.
Listen, I was never really sick until I started traveling the last 10 years. And then I got sick 5 times a year. Never rarely stayed home. No one ever knew I was sick, but I was just traveling. So one, I was traveling sick all the time and no one knew it. So I was getting other people sick. Number 2, I never washed my hands or I never sanitized my hands, and I never wore a mask. I will be sanitizing my hands. I will not be traveling sick anymore, and I will be wearing a mask on a plane. So if you're sitting next to me and I'm wearing a mask on the plane, don't give me crap a year from now, because I've really, think about it. Flu season didn't happen this year. It didn't happen. It's because everybody's wearing a mask. So I'm not going to be the guy walking in the grocery store a year from now with a mask unless I'm mandated. But I will be on an airplane wearing a mask, because I think an airplane is very safe. But, when you're sitting next to somebody and they happen to sneeze, even if they cover their mouth, you're going to get sick. So I've always cleaned my seat. I've always done that. But I've rarely ever sanitized my hands. And I don't think that's going to go out of favor. And I really think you're going to see masks in our society, kind of like you saw a mask in Asia, where not everyone in Asia wears a mask, but a lot of people do. And I think you're going to see the same thing in America. I think 10 years from now, you're going to see certain people wearing masks.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would like to take a moment to do a big shout out to all those Park Slope moms out there who are using hand sanitizer aggressively 15 years ago when I had toddlers at the
Listen, Park Slope is, if you don't know Park Slope is a country. Okay. It is an absolute country.
It was amazing living there
by itself. And what was that little grocery store? The you have like you
Steve's Town?
No, the grocery store that you basically give time to.
Oh, the co-op.
The co-op. I mean, they never no. I don't think any place in the world ever did a co-op better than Park Slope.
Yeah, it was great, and lots of hand sanitizer, absolutely everywhere. It was the most sanitized neighborhood in all of New York City. Now I was glad to see that the rest of the world has caught on to.
And it's the only place, it's the only Barnes and Noble you go into, and the kids are well behaved reading books. Nobody's running around. Nobody's hitting anybody with a bike. Like,
oh my God,
right?
that was a great place for parents to take their kids. You go downstairs to the little kids area. They had a little stage. The kids would dance around. They would read books nice and quietly, and mom and dad would get some coffee and go, ah.
Sounds like we need to be taking notes.
Yes, absolutely. Or maybe we could just do a live broadcast from the basement of Barnes & Noble in Park Slope one day. Suzanne said she just taught a class about hand washing, sanitizing, and lack of sickness in class yesterday. So yes, Nicole, you're right. These behaviors are going to stick because we're not just worried about the effects of COVID anymore. We're realizing all the ancillary benefits of keeping clean and sanitized our overall quality of health.
Yep. Absolutely.
And all us little crazy people that used to run around doing all that stuff, we look sane now. You know, when I washed all the stuff around my airplane, now I just look like everybody else.
Absolutely.
But I also will say,
no doubt about it.
I will also say, a lot of people went right back to like not caring. I mean, I get on a plane and like I only fly Delta because they do it the best. I'm sorry, I don't mean to give them a free plug, but Delta. If I don't fly Delta, I'm miserable. And they keep their middle seat empty and it's just clean. They hand you a little sanitizer when you come on. But a lot of people don't even sanitize their seat when they sit down. I watch people just put it down and they're pressing buttons. But a lot of people are. So really, I think some people are going to go back to normal, and some people are just going to be, for a very long time, be hypersensitive.
Yep.
I think it'll be a very long time, though, Anthony. I think standards and practices have changed. You might not see the peak that we saw during the pandemic, but I'm not going to probably change the way I approach those same scenarios, getting on an airplane, wiping the surface down, sanitizing my hands after I wash them. That's just the way things are going to be for me. I think back to my grandparents who lived through the Great Depression. You know, they kept napkins, they kept straws, they kept everything. They did that till they were 80, 90 years old.
Dave,
in their head, they're not going to change.
You totally forgot them taking the bread off the table at the restaurant and putting it in their bag.
Yeah, I mean, they were 50 years removed from the Depression and still doing it. So I think a lot of these things are just new habits for us. We're going to carry the rest of our lives.
And not to go off on a tangent, but when you think of those older people and they say, well, they had Depression era mentality, that's why they save so much money. Well, how many families have struggled that were making six figures and all of a sudden they saw themselves in really financial straits? So I think that even that is going to have some impact with children and adults, that they're going to realize sometimes saving for a rainy day is not 2 or 3 months. It's a year.
Right.
Yep. And your point earlier, not to go too off topic here, but your point earlier about the next generation and what they've had to go through. Well, guess what? That's the next generation of leaders. And I think I'm inspired by that. We give a lot of heck to the millennials, and I think they got a bad rap. But the next generation that's going through COVID, they're going to have some grit, and they're going to be able to. They're going to be great leaders.
Well, like my daughter said to me, she goes, if my kids ever give me crap about studying, I'm going to say, I lived through a pandemic. Get to work.
Yeah, get to work.
That's hysterical. All right. It feels like we're coming to the end of our conversation. Nicole, Dave, how about some final thoughts? And I know that we've been talking about Cintas all day long, but maybe a little plug to boot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, I'm going to end the same way I started, and that is genuinely thank you for all you're doing. I know my team, and I know Cintas is watching daily. You've had great leaders, thought leaders, innovation on this podcast. Keep it up. We're rooting for you. I know the industry really needs it, and we're grateful for that. So thank you very much for leading us through it.
And I'm sure your team as soon as they see somebody on our show, they're linking in on them and say, "Hey, I heard you talk about on Anthony and Glenn's show. Hey, what do you think about this? You guys are the best."
Well, you know what it does? It allows us to have a compelling conversation, right? Not because we don't believe we're in sales. We really don't. We are partners, and you've seen that in consulting. But it sure as heck helps when we know what they're struggling with. And while we're all struggling with the pandemic, each brand and each operator's got just a little bit of a different approach and technique. So it's been very helpful. Thank you.
Great, Dave.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you again. I think for Glenn, Anthony, like the cultural alignment we have between how you guys approach things and how we approach things is right there. We speak the same language, the same intensity, and it's awesome to see you here every single day. We can depend on it, bringing good information to the industry. For the last year, you're here every day, same time, bringing the message, and we really appreciate that and really glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of like Cintas, right? You can be dependent on. And very early on, it was Glenn's idea to make sure we do it every day at the same time, lunchtime, and never miss. And now that we're both really busy, we're still 12 o'clock. Like I may be traveling tomorrow, so I'll maybe in the rent-a-car somewhere, but I will be on the show. And I think that, like you said, you can depend on it, and even if you miss 80% of the shows, that if you hear somebody, ooh, you know what, I've always wanted to hear what that person has to say, that 12 o'clock right here, you're going to listen to it. And also you can listen to it on our podcast. If you're just running like 2 weeks from now, you can go back. So Glenn, why don't you give us a plug on that?
Yeah. If you want to watch it on video, be sure to follow us on novacancynews.com. And of course, our YouTube page. We love getting those subscribers on the YouTube page, but the audio podcast is really a great opportunity for you too. You got the Checking In with Anthony and Glenn feed. You got the No Vacancy feed, whatever feeds your soul while you're out exercising, walking the dog, commuting, whatever it might be, trying to escape the pressures of having to deal with your family, whatever it is. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to ask you to listen. So go ahead to any place that you like to get your podcast and download that feed right now. How'd that go, Anthony? Is that all right?
That was perfect. That's why I'm telling you, I'm color and you're the straight man.
Yes. And Michael, we do have the book, but I will promote that in just 1 second after Nicole and Dave leave us. So thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Dave.
Okay. When we leave, I want to know what the upside down A means.
All right.
We got to figure that out.
Stick around, stay backstage, Anthony, and I'll wrap up and we'll bring you back for a little bit of show chatter.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, the adapters, go check it out. Look, my name on a book should be on your bookshelf. Go to Amazon.com right now. Get the adapters.com. Why? Conversations with gutsy genius thinkers that are driving the fourth age of change, one experience at a time. These people survived the pandemic. We captured a lot of great interviews with them early on, followed up with them, and we're continuing to do that with our video series at theadapters.net.
So that little blue thing in there, is that a chapter you're going to read? A little?
That is randomly put in there. We had a little conversation with all right, a little fake conversation with Ben Franklin, who is a gutsy genius thinker.
Okay, so then I tell you have to read a quote or something from the book every day. That's your homework.
I screwed that up because I was preparing for today's show. I actually prepared for today's show.
Oh, so that's great. You're making excuses. Exactly what I love.
Very good at making excuses, but I don't have to make an excuse for this one, Bigham Bathhouse, because she is giving away money to charity for any things you made. I got my little hand solo and carbonite here. I got my little Darth Vader soap over here. That's fun. But if you buy the pineapple soap, she's going to help charities.
So how do you find them?
BighamBathhouse.com. 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 All right.
And what does the upside down A mean, buddy?
Oh, it's just artistic to get people to notice.
Okay. Can you come up with a better idea, man?
I will ask Art Lurie, our designer and stuff like that.
So the upside down A means that sometimes in the world it goes upside down.
That's right.
But it always comes right side up. So just turn the book up the other way, and all of a sudden it's
upside down.
Now turn it the other way, and it's A, right? See, look.
Passion. All right.
You got to come up with a good story. And tomorrow you got to read a paragraph or a quote, or I'm not going to let you back on the show.
All right. I promise you I will do that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Have a great afternoon. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.